Welcome back. We'll be now switching the language as well as our studio to our digital studio when our guest or Joachim Samuelsson, who is CEO of Crunchfish, is awaiting to present. So without further ado, let's welcome him. Good day, Joachim.
Hi, Mike. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. So it'll work this way. You'll present and then I'll return in just a moment to ask a few questions. So please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm going to talk about Crunchfish, a tech company from Malmö. We have two technologies in our company, digital cash in order to enable offline payments. And we also have gesture interactions in order to enable you to control consumer electronics with your hands. This presentation will be mainly focused on the first part, the digital cash part. Having only 20 minutes, it really makes it hard to focus on both areas. So I'm going to do more of a deep dive into the digital cash side. What I'll try to take you through is what is offline payments and how can you enable it to happen digitally. I will also say a little bit of where we are in this area as Crunchfish, how far have we come, and focus in on our really unique ability to facilitate offline payments. And then look ahead and where are we targeting our technology? Where are we going with it in the market? That's what I will try to cover in these 20 minutes. And then I look forward to the questions from Mike sort of afterwards. In a nutshell, it's about to create payment availability. Today's payment systems, they only work when everything works. If there is a glitch somewhere, it doesn't work. And that glitch could come from that you don't have internet connectivity, then you can't sort of pay, or something is wrong in the back end that makes your payment ability, as well as many others who is using the same payment service, not able to pay. We're trying to come around this, and it's sort of called offline payments, that you are doing a payment between two parties really without any connectivity. Both can be offline, or possibly only one of them could be offline, but this is what our technology allows for. Within payments, there are paradigm shifts happening. We've gone through a huge paradigm shift because it used to be, to the left here, everything used to be offline. It used to be offline payments. Using sort of your banknotes, you have checks. You remember how you paid in say for your taxi drive, where the taxi driver was having a machine where they sort of took your credit card imprint into a piece of paper. So it used to be very offline payments, but thanks to the internet revolution and the need for much more efficiency in payments, we have now shifted into a paradigm which is digital, and we have turned ourselves to that it should be online payments. That has created a situation where we're quite vulnerable for faults, glitches in the system. And we believe that there is a need to take back that control, to have more resilience in the payments. You shouldn't have to care as a user whether you're online or offline. You should be able to make payments anyway. And that's what we mean, that we're going to enable offline payments in a world today which is online. So we're not after to just create everything offline, but to complement the online world. That's what we're working on. The drive for this in the market, I would say, is sort of coming from two directions. One is the largest populous country in the world at the moment. India has passed China now, has more population than anyone, and they are also really ahead when it comes to payments. Their volume is just staggering within the Indian market, and that has created some problems in order to be able to process all this volume in India. They also have issues with internet connectivity in their market, that not everybody has access to internet in the rural areas. And then because of, again, the sheer population size and the congestion that can be created in a busy, say, train station in India or at a big event, then not everybody could get data channels. So all this has meant that India is really driving for facilitating offline payments as well. The other main driver in the market is the central banks. They do have plans to introduce central bank digital currency, CBDC. And as their analog banknotes are offline, and they understand that that is a great backbone, a great resilience factor in the market, because you can always resort to cash. But their digital counterpart, the digital cash that they're gonna bring out in the market, needs to be offline as well. So of all the, I don't know if it's hundreds of central banks investigating introducing central bank digital currency, there is definitely a on the requirement list is offline payments. So I think these two factors are driving in a way the market for offline payments at the moment. Essentially what it's all about is that you are creating some money for yourself, a spending limit. You reserve some money from your, say, your bank account, or you take it out as central bank digital currency, and you have a pool of money that you could access and use offline. Then you pay offline without any connection to the online ledger in the most extreme case. And then you could settle later, that where you move money between the between accounts, or exchange whatever you receive, you exchange that for bank money. But it is these three steps that you reserve, you pay, and then you sort of settle. The way this is linked to the online world is what I'm trying to display in this picture here. The three steps here, reserve, pay, and settle, is on the left. And what you can see in the middle, the big picture there, is at the top, an online world, which could have two facets. It could either be token-based. This is what the cryptocurrencies are. They're always token-based. Or it could be like the real-time payment systems, like Swish here in Sweden, or mobile pay in Denmark. It's account-based systems. And then the central bank digital currencies, they could develop their online world into any of those directions. But that's the online world. Connected to that, there is an offline world. And in order for you to get a spending limit, to have access to that, you need on your device have a trusted environment, something safe. And what it needs to be safe is basically from your own intrusion, because it will be very tempting if it would be very easy to copy or change how much you have access to by yourself, basically printing money yourself. So that trusted environment needs to be safe for the user itself. So you can't basically trick the system and have more money than you have actually reserved for yourself. And then the pay step is that there is some sort of security protocol in order to transfer money offline. And that could either be similar to that you are using, say, tokens that are issued online and you are transferring those tokens offline. But I think more and more people, and we've been talking about this for a long time, is using a balance approach, that you just have a balance that you're managing, and you are transferring that, a bit of that balance to a receiver. And that is using what we call a layer 2 approach instead. But that's sort of the setup that needs to be there. What we have done in Crunchfish, and we're very proud of this, that we were selected by the Central Bank of India, or the Reserve Bank of India, together with the leading bank, the leading private bank in India, HDFC Bank, and another bank, IDFC First Bank, a very digital savvy bank. These two banks, together with us, set up a way to transfer real money in India from one payer to another, and then connecting back to the online rail where we could exchange money between users of these two banks. This was piloted successfully in India during the first half of 2023. And we were, as I said, proud of this, and we saw a really great future in India and also in other places, because this was sort of world first. HDFC Bank sort of announced this as the world's first really done in this way, and they were proud of it, just like us. What happened in parallel was that the National Payment Corporation of India developed a wallet for the whole nation that they manage. This is where people could reserve money online that they can use. They came out as late as September this year with something called UPI Lite X. And this is a way how to transfer also, just like we did in our sort of trial here, how you can transfer from a payer to a receiver in complete offline mode. Quite frankly, this was very, very similar to what we had already piloted in the market. We saw this as a great endorsement that offline payment is important, and we contacted MPCI and started discussing with them how we possibly could complement what they've already done, because this is an opportunity to come out wide in the Indian market. UPI is something that most banks are using, and their facility to do it also offline is something that can quickly spread to the payment apps, to the banks across India. And what we offer, what we add, is a more secure way of transferring money offline. We have more use cases than the one you see here, and we have quite a few patents in this area, as we started with this already back in 2020 in the markets. Let me explain, and this I'll take you to a couple of slides which are a bit technical, but they're important in order to understand the beauty, I think, of our digital cash solution, which is both secure as well as scalable. What you see on the left is typically how apps are developed today in the market. They are in a complete unsecure world. It's quite easy to hack a phone and take over control over a mobile phone. But essentially the structure is that an application talks to the mobile operating system that is controlling the app's use of the hardware. But it's an unsecure world. It's called a rich execution environment, the rich world. What is needed in order to facilitate offline payments is a secure world, because as I said, you need to protect the offline balance. You set up rules for how you're going to operate, and you have cryptographic keys in order to transact offline. All that needs to be kept securely. And the way Crunchfish have done it here is to develop a trusted app, a trusted application, which is running within a tamper-resistant element on the secure side. And the beauty with our solution is that it's completely integrated within the app. So by doing that integration, Crunchfish is able to make use of the existing infrastructure, which is there on a mobile phone with the Android or iOS operating system. So we don't change anything. So the same way as you can deploy an app in the market by an upgrade or an update on the app stores, in the same way we could deploy our apps to all the devices, all mobile phones that are sort of using a smartphone with these operating systems. So it works on all Androids and smartphones. And the beauty also, because we have linked it within an app, is that we can also run on those phones which are what's called jailbroken. That's typically the word you use for iOS phones, or a rooted device if it is an Android. This is a hacked phone where a potential fraudster has taken control over the phone. We could run it there as well. So we are insulating us from that sort of problem. And it's a cost-efficient solution, as it's all in software. And this is a unique approach that Crunchfish have in the market, to have this an app-integrated, tamper-resistant element where we're running our application. The alternative is to resort to hardware. And in practice, there are many issues with this. A common approach is what you see on the left here, is that you are using what's available on an Android phone, key store, or what's called a strongbox. Or alternative on an iOS is called keychain or the secure enclave. But the drawback, or one thing they are missing, is that they're only handling the cryptographic keys. It's only the handling of the keys which are safe, and not all the other parameters that are used for offline payments. This is the offline balance, the risk rules, the transaction logs. When you're operating on all that data, you are doing that in an unsecure world, and that means that they are open for attacks. So this is not safe enough for running a offline payment application. What you could do is maybe to look at a standalone tamper-resistant element. That is, it's an element which secure element which is external to the device itself, and that could be, for instance, running it on a SIM card, which you can add to the phone. But these have big problems in practical implementations, because there are a lot of device fragmentation. There are a lot of different hardware setups in the market. There are a lot of problems in that there are no really easy way of getting operating system support for connecting the payment app with that SIM card. So you're ending up that you could do it maybe for a particular device, but not for the whole market. So essentially, we don't see much, I think, widespread rollout of solutions which are doing it in this fashion. Instead, what really is there, what really is available, is what I had on this slide. It's our solution, an app integrated, trusted, tamper-resistant element without trusted application. And we are unique in this in the market. What you see here on a hardware is to have it on cards. We know that from our having our smart cards, and you could put some offline balance on a card, but then you're away from basically having it integrating on a device. You just have it on a card. So if you believe in this area will take off and this will be something, there are not many solutions in the market except Crunchfish solutions, except for cards, that really can do it. This is also trying to sum up what I've been saying. You need to handle cryptographic keys and all these assets, offline assets, the balance, the risk rules. And you need to handle it securely in runtime when you're executing, as well as for storage. The rich world at the left there doesn't do it well at all. And what really works is at the top right corner, that you have app integrated TREs here. We've done a solution in the market with IDFC First Bank, allowing a user without having any connection to the internet to pay anyway, but using the normal rail. This is an additional use case that is now being implemented for the e-rupee within India, and it's being right now security tested and to be rolled out basically nowish. This is the whole product portfolio we have. We have that digital cash telecom product, we have the offline product, and we can also pay forward with our approach. We can also interact with a card where you debit on say a smartphone and you credit on a card. Crunchfish has quite a few patents in this area, as I mentioned. I see the time is running fast, but to talk about this is that we have patents which are key patents in order to implement this, that we applied for as early as 2020 and 2021, when offline payment was not at all in fashion as much as it is starting to be. The other area, as I said, is CBDC. And here we have started to market our approach to make central banks aware that this is possible. We were awarded in May this year for what they call an outstanding advancement in digital currency from Currency Research, who organizes a lot of digital central bank digital currency conferences. And we are currently quite occupied by integrating with many CBDC platforms. We've had a couple, but this is an area where we've been very busy expanding our universe with more CBDC platforms. The business model, how we make money here, is that we license. This is a software and we license it. So you can have the right to use it. We help them with onboarding and support services. And then what the fees basically is structured on is how many active users for offline payments you have or how many transactions. It could be either or. And typically we sign up for a 3-year agreement. So to wrap up, we are looking at the world, India, and then worldwide. And we have been and are still very focused on trying to break through in a major way in India. And one key to that is to get into the UPI Lite ecosystem really here. But we're also working on the central bank digital currency. And in India it's for the e-rupee. That's what we're doing. One applications now with IDFC First Bank and also for other implementations as well. Crunchfish, as I said in the beginning, we have 2 parts. We have Crunchfish Digital Cash run by Patrick Lindeberg, and then Fredrik Clemensson is running the part that I didn't have time to talk about, the gesture interaction. So why invest? Why would you really be interested in Crunchfish? Well, first of all, if you believe that offline payments is a necessity in a market which is very vulnerable, you need that resilience in payment, then this is an area that we are a leading company in. We have our solution, the only one in the market really, which is both secure and scalable. Great global potential for our products, India, CBDC implementation and e-wallet. Very scalable. We do it in software and we have a very efficient team developing this and a strong patent portfolio. And within the area of gestures, proven solutions that has been implemented in many AR, VR situations. I think I could end there because I see the time is running out, but I did have just, which I think we will come into in the questions, and that is talking about maybe our rights issue that we are doing right now and also what is happening with the Crunchfish share. But I'll leave that for the discussion with you, Mike. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Joachim. We'll make it this quick. I just have a couple of questions. From what I understood, India is your biggest, if not your only market so far. But considering then that you'll be able to grow on this market, what would be next for you?
Well, I think it is to get a partnership with NPCI, National Payment Corporation of India, that are very dominant on the Indian market with their payment services. They're essentially, they have their own card services. They have UPI, which is growing tremendously, and now then also coming with potential to do offline payment. To complement that with our solution, which makes their solution secure, can have more use cases, and they will benefit from basically our patent protection in this area. So the partnership with MPCI, I think, is highly high on the agenda for us.
Can you give us a slight overview of what patents are currently pending and which one shareholders can expect to see moving forward?
Well, the ones that I had quickly on one slide, I don't know if this is still up. I can go back to this one. We've applied for all of these applications internationally, and then you are getting a review of those your application. And internationally, the ones that I write here, they have been given. We have got a positive response back that this is deemed patentable. But then what you have to do is to go market for market. And all these we have applied in India as well, for instance. But we have to choose what markets we are gonna apply for it. The one which we actually have already granted is the one here in the middle, which is actually granted in Sweden. But it's already been examined, and we have a positive verdict on these 3. The other 8 are patent pending ones. I don't know if that answers your question, but it's this patent area is an interesting area where each country is sovereign. They take their own decisions, and we have to decide which country we go for. India is certainly one of them.
We'll have to move to the rights issue then. With this new money, you will be given at tops 85 million Swedish crowns. Could you tell us more about what you plan to spend this money on?
Well, we need it for continuing developing our digital cash. It's a very fast-moving market, so we are continuing developing, but we are also using it for marketing. I think about half is what we see for the digital cash area, and then a little bit more than half we have planned that this is going to be used for our marketing and sales activities in order to cover the world within India, but also for all these potential opportunities with payment platform partners in the CBDC area. So this is half of it, really. Then we have set aside about 20%, which is used for our gesture interaction business, and then the 30% is for our capital, really, working capital in the company to have. That's how it sort of is distributed.
The rights issue is secure to 60%, but what about management and board? Have they given any commitments to subscribe? Our chairman, we had a convertible loan that came from his company, and they've committed to convert that. Myself, I have already invested almost 100 million in this company, and is quite fully loaded already. And for me, I think it's I don't basically. It's two reasons for me. I don't basically afford to. This is a great opportunity, I think, but I'm happy that we have created this opportunity. I will have to take some dilution, but this is something. If you can't invest, is something that I would find okay to have a dilution in order for the company to be capitalized in this way. But I simply have already. I'm too heavily invested and simply can't afford into more. Other board members have only a smaller share position, so I don't know about their preferences, what they will do. But the two main owners in the company is the chairman and the company behind him and myself. And unfortunately, I can't afford and would have to live with the dilution of adding more shares here. We'll end with a question we have received from a viewer. The agreement with IDCF allows up to 20 million users according to the prospect. Is this sufficient to cover today's cost base at full utilization?
Well, is this sufficient? Can you repeat that in the end?
Is this sufficient to cover today's cost base at full utilization?
Let me do. Yes, it would be actually. Yeah, it would be sufficient for the digital cash side of our business, not for the whole side, but we have the gesture side. But it is sufficient money for that if IDFC would roll out applications for this volume. Yes.
Joachim Samuelsson, CEO at Crunchfish, thank you very much for being here presenting and answering my questions, and good luck, of course, in the future.
Thanks so much, Mike. Take care.